But no, let's get into some more podcast beef. Gilbert Arenas, Miko Grimes. Are you familiar with Miko Grimes?
I have no idea who that is.
So she got really popular, especially during the early social media era, like Twitter and stuff. She is a football wife to Brent Grimes. Grimes. He is pretty much from, most notable stops was the Dolphins and the Falcons. But she was a regular guest on Gilbert Arenas' podcast during the first season. And what happened was she's no longer on the show now. So a lot of people been wondering what's going on, because she's a good personality. Like, she had been out of the limelight for a while because she, like I said, she had a lot to say. She was a lady who was always going to tell you about how she felt about sports. She was always big on the player side, but just due to the fact that, like, she just got treated a lot of negative ways, she kind of just pulled back from the industry until Gilbert, pulled her back in. So basically the thing that goes on with this is, if you watch the show, I've been watching the show since it came on. It's been a lot of heated discussion with her, Rashad McCants and all that, but that wasn't what the main thing of this interview was. So she did an interview with Entirely NBA where she talked about why she left Gilbert Arenas' podcast. And the reason why she left the podcast, and what she said, was because Brandon Jennings had ties to Karl Malone. They called Karl Malone a pedophile on one of the episodes, and they wanted her to apologize for it.
Is Karl Malone a pedophile?
So Karl Malone, basically, this is what happened. He was 21 years old. This is the story that, you can look it up, Google it. But he was 21 years old. He had relationships with a 13-year-old. There was a baby that was produced from this. That baby
definitely a pedophile.
That baby ended up going to the NFL, playing for like 5 or 6 seasons. And he had no contact with her. That lady had a poor life after that, even though he's the number 3 scorer in NBA history. like that's how good this thing was.
That's crazy.
But they called him a pedo. Gilbert Arenas made some jokes, and Brandon Jennings, this nigga Gilbert, bro, I'm about to get on you in a little bit. This nigga Gilbert, Brandon Jennings' girlfriend, has ties to Karl Malone. So they wanted them to apologize. Gilbert apologized. She refused to apologize.
As she shouldn't, because if I call you a pedophile and you're a pedophile, then you gotta just lay in your pedophile bed.
Brandon Jennings then said some things that she took to be threatening. So
what did he say?
He basically was like, "Oh, it's personal. You better watch out." All this kind of. Basically, she said language that she took as threatening. Mm-hmm. The reason why she took it as threatening is because she know who Brandon Jennings is. She's familiar with them. They were friends. He's an ex-basketball player too.
Okay. Why would his history or anything about him be threatening?
So I will say this. I'm not going to put nothing on this man's jacket, but I used to follow him when I was in high school on MySpace. When he was in high school.
Throwback.
And this nigga would post pictures with him with a red rag around his face, throwing 3 fingers up and making a circle with his index and thumb. You can do that at home, ladies and gentlemen. You do the math. He's from California.
He was throwing up bees.
So you can say whatever you want in regards to that. Again, I ain't gonna put nothing on that nigga jacket, but that's why she, had reason to believe that any kind of threat he may give to her, it could be followed through, and also she knew where he stayed at. Like, they was cool at one point. Like, she said this used to be her friend. They had a falling out because she was cool with his old baby mama, his first baby mama. Mm-hmm. And whatever happened between them probably led to their falling out. And then him and her got cool again for the show. Mm-hmm. And then that's where, once the Karl Malone thing happened, this is what I didn't like. Gilbert Arenas then responds on his channel and on his own personal channel. This is why I didn't like Gilbert. This nigga Gilbert redirects everything that she says, because he watches the clip over and tries to skim over that, where he says, well, the apology was just because this is your friend. Your friend said you hurt them. Why wouldn't you apologize? And then goes to try to make it seem like everything else that she was saying, the real reason why she left was because she had a problem with another guy on the show who she said had fake J's, Rashad McCants. The reason why that's funny, he went to the University of North Carolina, which is the same college Michael Jordan went to. So wearing fake J's is a fucking crime when you do that. But really what happened was he did have some fake looking J's, but it was his clothing line. And they were clowning him on it on the live show. Mm-hmm. and she didn't know that was his clothing line. He took that as real offense and then stopped talking to her. Like the whole time, like anytime she talked on the show, he would just disregard what she was saying, wouldn't respond.
That's not only petty and sassy as fuck, nigga. That's unprofessional.
It was bad, yeah. So some of those episodes got bad.
You could not talk to me for a second until the cameras turn on, and then we gotta have chemistry. Like you gotta act like there's nothing happening.
Yeah, that's what she said she wanted to do.
That's really bitchy.
But she did kind of know, because she was saying on one of the last episodes she was there that they did dap up after the show. Like they did kind of get to a point where, hey, we're going to do this so that the show's good, but we don't have to talk behind the scenes. But the thing was that she was scared because of Brandon Jennings and that
I can
connection.
understand. She's the only woman.
But let me get back to what Gilbert do. No, you're right. She was the only woman there, too. But just hold your point one more time. So this is what I'm going to say. This is what this nigga Gilbert did. And this is why I didn't like what you did, Gilbert. You kept doing the whole time through your live, kept trying to make it seem like it was about her and McCants. And you know that's not what it was about. She said, even when she said it, that was some real tap dancing you was doing, dog. I like it. I respect it. But that was some tap dancing, bro. You was really on that bull. But what you about to say about her being the only woman?
I can completely understand her feeling like she was in danger if you're the only woman there and then you say something.
Mm-hmm. And she was willing to come back.
And then everyone wants you to apologize instead of standing behind you and protecting you.
Yeah, she said there was a real big blow up between her and Gilbert because she said that none of y'all protect me. None of y'all said anything. She wanted Brandon to be removed from the show. Mm-hmm. But the problem is this. Brandon Jennings was already one of the early people who signed on with the show, and he got them an interview with Steph Curry. So he was kind of like, we can't really remove you because you're bringing so much value to the show. Yeah. But what I want to ask this is, because you kind of touched on it a little bit, do you feel like there is a world where if I offend somebody, if I offend you because somebody in your family did something wrong in regards to sexual violence, do you feel like the gloves are off then that person can be shitted on at any time? Or do you think it needs to be some like level of decorum?
I was trying to follow the question, but I lost it at the end.
So basically, like, you got a homegirl, her grandfather was a Catholic priest. He touched on little boys. It's well known. Is it all right to make a joke about Catholic priests around her touching little boys? Or making comments about shitting on, like, saying, like, oh, Catholic priests to be such and such. You know, like, is that wrong? Like, I know you did something, sexual violence, either with children or a woman.
If we're friends, then I'm probably we're friends, and I'm basing this off of you do not agree with the behavior that your family member did, right? So you don't like the fact that your grandfather priest was a pedophile. So no, I'm probably not going to make jokes about it off of just like respect for you, because that's a painful thing for you. Mm-hmm. That's an embarrassing thing for you, and you're ashamed of it.
And I think another thing to note too, what sparked it off was Rashad McCants was trying to promote Karl Malone's cigars. And that's where the comments about him being a pedophile and them joking off from. So again, in that situation where it's like,
but also at the same time, if you're my friend and your grandfather was a pedophile and we have a podcast,
probably shouldn't promote his cigars.
If you bring him up, I might make that joke for content. And you got to take that on the chin. Like,
that's why I don't feel like she should have had to apologize.
Like, you got to take that on the chin. Because not only was he actually a pedophile, the cameras are rolling. Content, baby. We got to make this magic.
And at the end of the day, once you bring his name up and you know his name is muddy, like, you really put whatever on, bro. You could have just been like, hey, this is an ex-NBA player's cigar. Don't worry about who it is. Just support, yada, yada, and it's over with.
I wouldn't even put myself in the position to come on my platform and tell y'all to support somebody that has those types of allegations, especially proven. Like, that's something that you have to do on your own personal platform. Like, if there's other people involved, then you can't do that. You got to ask for permission to do that.
There's a kid involved. Like, it wasn't like this was an allegation that this was never substantiate. Like, bro, there's a child.
Yeah, once there's a child that
documents
the proof.
all this. Like, that's why it's like, to me, I feel like if you're a person and notable and we're in this lifestyle and your person who you're associated with has done something vile like that, they're like, I'm not taking the gloves off with them. Like, I'm not apologizing to them. I'm not apologizing to hurting your feelings. Like, that is what accountability looks like. I'm sorry for people who aren't aware, but like, if you do something and your family receives the effects of that, that's part of your accountability.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what you did. Those are the actions that you put out into the world.
You got to take that on the chin. In situations like this are why black women be feeling like they are not protected by black men.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Gilbert even like
specifically.
He even said that how he erased it out of the episode. So they do live episodes, and when they put it back on the YouTube, he scraped that part of the episode. He also scratched out some of the live that I watched about this because I guess he revealed Brandon Jennings' girlfriend's connection to Karl Malone.
You should record them things when you watch.
No, I watched it late. I already came in late. So when I was watching it late, I couldn't, it was already gone.
Go back. Okay.
He already scrubbed it. This nigga's quick. That's why I be trying to watch this shit early now. Like, I try to watch it while it's going on live.
And record it while you're watching it so we can play that shit back.
Yeah, we can bring it out. Because they've been doing a lot of shit. Because she was even saying, like, they were even, like, taking shots at her. Because he did say this. He said, play stupid games, get stupid prizes. And they kept saying that on the show. Like, the next episode and all that other stuff. Like, so she felt, I feel her. Like,
yeah, so then you were taunting her at the same time. After
it was really corny.
Like, that's really,
It was mad corny. He was
I don't like that.
And he was like, said, Gilbert, you my mans. I watched you growing up as a kid, but that was corny the way you threw her under the bus like that. You knew it was fucked up. You knew what
it's really disheartening how y'all be moving sometimes. Like, I know the divide between black men and women is mostly on social media. In real life, it's not really that apparent to me. But situations like this make it real life apparent, and I don't like situations that make it real life apparent. Yeah. That y'all like just genuinely don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, it's sad, bro. Like, I'm not out here gonna be defending Nasty
And
Man.
this woman, like, she left this space. You made her feel like it was safe to come back in, and then completely left her.
And she was traveling from Florida to California to shoot.
Like, that's a long way.
That's a lot.
Yeah, y'all left her high and dry when she needed y'all the most to, like, step up and be like, nah, she don't have to apologize to you. This is fucked up. And Gilbert, you had that power to be like, no, both of y'all are staying here. She's not apologizing. Y'all are going to interact on camera. Y'all don't have to be friends. That's it.
Yeah, and like I said, she was cool with the whole Rashad. It was just her and Brandon Jennings where she said she didn't want to record with him anymore.
Yeah.
Because he brought his girlfriend there, and like I said, she was the line between him and Karl Malone. So like I said, I'm with you, Miko. Gilbert, man, you got to clean up your act, man. That shit's not cool. That shit's not cool at all.